better to understand everything we have to continue to work on it now. My name is Paul James. I host English News every morning.
And a Golden Angel Award ceremony.
Hello, dear friends, my lovely audience, brothers and sisters, my dear fellow Americans. Welcome to the East-West Show, Jack Chow, with a good friend of mine, Mr. Chris Nebe, director of Hollywood. In the meantime, political commentator who tries to help me to make some points straight. Welcome to the show.
谢谢你老朋友，非常感谢。
I heard that you brought me a message from God.
Yes.
What message from God that you have brought me?
Many Americans polls in America have shown that a lot of Americans consider the coronavirus epidemic as a message from God. And this message has given thought that they may have to change their way of living, regardless of education, income, gender, or race. Now we have over 100,000 Americans have died, and many millions are out of work and are facing economic hardships of catastrophic dimensions. So people are searching for answers of the deeper meaning of their lives. And some feel that, a lot of them feel that it is a message from God to do and change their life, because as we see today and yesterday and day before, America is in flames, and actually it illustrates
Let's separate these issues.
No,
Let's focus on. Shall we focus on the virus, the pandemic, please?
One leads to the other, because they're interconnected. There's a lot of frustration out there because people have been cooped up in their houses, which is not their fault.
What is the message from God saying? God say, I'm teaching you a lesson.
Yes.
That kind of message,
no,
right?
A wake-up call.
A wake-up call,
because you see, it's about time that we have that.
I agree. I agree with the 50% of it. By understanding what you mean, that message from God, saying that you human beings, creatures, probably have to watch yourself, your lifestyle,
yes,
the way you live,
yes.
The way you treat Mother Nature,
right,
including the way you treat each other,
right,
right.
Especially the way we treat each other. There are many reasons. You see, in the West, I think, or in America, society is the poor get poorer. Everybody knows that, and the rich get richer.
Okay, in the George Floyd case. I'm very sorry I interrupted you again. I'll go, or you want to go ahead? You want to go ahead?
You talk.
Yeah, I wanted to just do a little insertion. In the incident of George Floyd's death, though, if I try to understand the message of God, is it a message from God to tell Floyd, you should behave, or do you deserve to die? Now you're dying. Or is it a God message to tell the cops, say, go ahead, kill him?
No, it had nothing to do with that. It had nothing to do with that. The society is morally bankrupt, and the society needs a moral rejuvenation, because the apocalyptic pandemic is obvious in America has hit the poorest, and especially the people of color, the heaviest. What is happening today on the streets of America exposes a societal and racial inequality of unacceptable proportions that has left people of color extremely vulnerable and desperate. And you see it. And that's why you see what you see. Has nothing to do with George Floyd. It's just one of many. He's just the last case. There are almost every week some atrocities happening, performed by somebody in America, white or black or green or gray. It has nothing to do with that. He's just yesterday's news. News today is that in many cities, the ashes of the fires are still smoldering, and they are a symbol for decades and generations of pain and anguish, which has been unheard by the powers that be. That's very simple. What will happen next on the streets of America, I don't know, but I don't think it's going to change. It's not going to change.
What is not going to change?
I think this is going to go on, and because now you see you have the military coming in, you have the National Guard, and it means violence against violence, and that's not the way you will succeed. The root cause of all this lies way back. It's a part of society which is ignoring the needs, like the homeless. When there were a few homeless people, that problem should have been attended to. Now there are hundred thousands, and you cannot. What are you going to do? So that's it. Very simple.
Nothing else?
And over 80% of Americans believe in God, and most houses of worship had to stop in-person service to protect the health of the faithful. So that has not stopped Americans to turn in huge numbers to online gatherings in the internet to express their faith. And there's now a growing fear among those Americans that if they do not change their way of life, the apocalypse of the virus may continue indefinitely. Of course, they fear because, you know, there is no answer. Nobody has an answer.
So, in George Floyd case, how do you recommend the change of life?
The George Floyd case is yesterday's history. The people will be in court, and they will get what they deserve. You are putting your focus on one person. That's totally wrong. The picture is much larger.
Whose action?
So much larger.
Whose action that had aggravated the situation?
The aggravation is there were white police officers treating a black man the wrong way.
All right, all right.
Very simple.
How do you know that I disagree with you? I do agree with you. I do agree. All you said from ever since the beginning, I agree totally, except the part that you put George Floyd case under the God message category.
I didn't say that. You're doing it.
Well,
I have
anyway,
nothing to...
if you did not, of course, we're okay.
Yeah.
All right. I wanted to say, let's just take a deep breath and sit down tight, do a little thinking. I've been here since 1984, right? 36 something years, and I believe I've seen enough. I've seen enough what's happening, what had been happening, and what is happening now. Shortly after I landed, I was involved in a case to go to court to help somebody translating in Lancaster court. I was driving, that time I was driving a little Toyota thing, right? And approaching the court, I need to ask about directions. Back in those days, you have no GPS. To my left-hand side, there was an old woman, about over 80, well over 80, driving our pickup truck. Very healthy old woman, right? I asked her because windows are open. She says, 3 blocks down, make a right. That's what she says. No, make a left. that she says. Even though saying make a left, she gave me a gesture of this. You're making a left. Then it was time for her green light to make her left turn. She was gone. I was approaching, well, she says making a left in a way like this. How am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? Right. 1, 2, third block will be the point to turn. I saw her approaching in the back view mirror with the hairs flowing like that, driving crazy. And I slowed down. I know she was driving for me. She come too close to me enough, say, I'm sorry. I mean left. I mean left.
Very sweet.
Huh?
Very sweet.
Yeah, see. So I won't tell you, those years, those times, those days, people were like this. People were like this. She drove, obviously she finished the left turn. She discovered she gave me a wrong gesture, hand gesture, and she, however, came back to me to chase after me and call me and tell me that the right way. That story I remember vividly and forever.
There are many people like this out there, many, and that has not changed.
Okay, my friends, let's take a short moment out. We come back to get to the point. I'll be asking my friend Chris Nebe, where did the culture go? Stay with us.
Everything is respected and straight. It's like it seems wrong way. My name is Paul James. I host English News every morning.
And a golden angel award ceremony.
Hello, dear friends, lovely audiences. I still wish God we may bless the older woman who made me the story that I remember till today. Right now, to share with you, to share with my audiences, even though that was a little instant, asking ways, right? Okay, it make a man like me remember all the 36 years behind me. Mm-hmm. So you tell me, where did the culture go? And why did it go?
There's still a lot of people around like this old lady. And the good versus evil will never change in life. And you see, those who do not believe in God, contrary to those who are seeking sort of solace in God, they realize, they perceive the pandemic as a clear warning from Mother Earth that greed is humanity's greatest evil. And we must eradicate it, and if we want to survive, because it's a dire warning from Mother Nature.
You're saying the culture was absorbed or eaten by selfishness.
Yes.
By people's
complete blindness, by a totally blind situation to reality.
All right, okay. I start to see. Now it came shortly after that, what came upon me as so deep in my memory was the 1992 riot surrounding Rodney King. You know that? Yes, were you in LA back then?
I know the whole thing about it.
Rodney King.
Yes.
All right. There are 7 officers involved in the Rodney King beating. None of them was charged. None of them was even put on question. None of them was even give a how they call it, discipline, whatever, pause or something, until somebody published his or her private video. Back then, it was very rare you have a private video camera yourself. However, this person did. Okay, in the video, it was clearly seen that Rodney King lying on the ground doing nothing, and on him that fell 17 batons. Bam, bam, bam. One after, I saw that exactly. I kept on counting. It was exactly 17 times while that poor guy was doing nothing but screaming. That's it.
So what has changed? Nothing.
Now, then when nobody was charged, when that, even at the time when that video clip was seen on television, though, people came to protest, and the protest grew. It grew to firing. It grew to overlifting police cars. It grew to looting stores and breaking windows, smashing windows, stuff on and on and on and on, until the government has to make another decision to revive the sentencing, right?
No.
The verdict.
No, it was the military who came. The National Guard came out in force and stopped it.
No.
That was later on.
It was not the National Guard. That was a cover of the face. All right. What I did see was that was a revision of the previous verdict to 1, 2, 3, 4 out of the 7 officers. Put them in jail. That put an end to the riot.
No. The end to the riot was the National Guard. I'm sorry, I've seen it myself. I lived there. They were in front of my house.
And then every night, when there's a riot, I go there. I went there to see myself. I took pictures, right? I saw one of my riots. I earned myself enough power of speech. Now, if you say that was something you and I in disagreement, which I mean that message, that verdict, the government actions, military actions together delivered a wrong message to the society, the OJ case of '94 delivered another.
Yeah, but that's all yesterday's news. You're talking about yesterday's news. Who cares about yesterday's news? Today is what's happening. Yeah, and it's all repeating itself.
In order to understand today, we have to go back.
No, because this is repeating itself. There was a...
Yeah, I know.
There was
exactly.
almost a whole town.
Okay, now, you tell me the George Zimmerman case in Florida.
Yeah. In 1920, a whole town almost burned down called Tulsa of racial riots.
Yes, exactly.
So it's no use to go back. It just shows you this
in
is
1878. In 1878, in downtown, 7 Chinese Americans were hanged and burned.
Yeah. So this just shows you it's an open wound which doesn't heal. That's all.
All right. Yes.
So let's address things today.
You started criticism without listening to my statement. My statement exactly as you concluded. The problem was there, was never taken care of.
No, and it's still not being taken care of.
Look at, tell me the Michael Brown case of Detroit. No, not Detroit. Baltimore.
Whatever. It all repeats itself. It's like
on and on and on.
Yeah.
All right. So now in between or amongst all the incidents, there came the 99%, the black life counts, so on and so forth. The government, the administration at all levels, federal, state, city, whatever, none gave enough attention or necessary attention to what's going on. So it is accumulation of yesterday that brought us to today. So I agree with you.
We know that. We know that.
I agree with you. So now, We need a cure.
Yes, I'm telling you that what
So
we
where's the cure?
one cure is that we must stop overpopulation, because this is the message from nature. Because the next virus is going to be so deadly that we may be annihilated like the dinosaurs were annihilated a couple of million years ago. Then this virus is going to be nothing. We are polluting Mother Nature in a form which is unbelievable. And that is all accumulation of all these frustrations which is in the people, on top of the racial issues, which makes what happens. And then when you see things like that, I mean, if you see the video of this white police officer choking this man who is handcuffed and on the ground.
Yes.
And you see the urine running because he's peeing in his pants, it's sickening. And that is just the, this is the moment who brings the reality of this never having healed wound of America. And the wound of this is the courtesy of...
Unlike the George Zimmerman case, which had no videotaping of what happened, everybody hears what everybody else is saying. In other words, all the information were given by what the people told you, right? Based on hearing cases. The proverb says, seeing is believing, right? The version of clip I saw was a 9 minute and 43 second, right? During that whole period of time, 9 minutes 43 seconds, I would say if anybody would argue that wasn't a murder, I have a problem with it.
Nobody's arguing that. Nobody's arguing that. The man
no. They still saying that's excessive force.
No.
That's not excessive force.
The man has been accused of murder and manslaughter, and he's in prison. So that's
no. It's a planned slaughter. That whole thing, that whole group of cops are determined to kill him, and they killed him in the execution manner.
Okay.
Let me show you. Here's the corner of the police car, right?
I saw the video. You
Yeah.
don't have to explain anything to me.
No. I will point out the video. Okay. Now, there's a man's head pinned down under the knee of the officer. Until the end of the 9 minutes, there comes a stretcher from an ambulance, right? When the stretcher put it there, it's already there, all right? And the cops with the stretcher did not even push the guy away. He reached the head of the man. Together, they lifted on the stretcher,
So
lifted the body of the stretcher.
What's the issue here?
There's no eye check, no pulse check, no breath check about the man's survival. The man's what? What called the basic three.
Okay, but so what? They are being accused. This is.
Okay, now.
I'm not.
If this can be performed on the street, though, that means that's the protocol. Even though the mayor and the PD chief of the police apologized, I would say what I see is a culture. And a culture is not a mistake. A culture is something trained in the law making. That's it.
Yes.
The law making is what we're talking about. Okay, my dear friend, let's take a break and come back, please.
Everything from perspective, straight. It's like the same genre.
My
name is Paul James. I host English news every morning.
and a golden angel award ceremony.
Hello, dear friends, my lovely brothers and sisters. I'm getting excited. Everybody's life is a life. My life's a life, yours life's a life, everybody's life's a life. So life has a right, deserves a right to keep on breathing. For anybody, now let's say, even if you are on death toll, right? You have your choice to go to electrical chair. You have to take the cocktail. You have your choice to do anything else. And if there's the fourth choice, to be kneed on the neck to die, okay, put it on the law, on the book. Okay, now, you say, no, that's only a little incident. It so happened the bad officer did what he did to the old guy. To the black guy. And how about the officers around him? And there are people, bystanders, kept on watching. You're killing him. You're killing him. He can't breathe. Let him breathe. Let him breathe. Let him sit up. All the 8.5 minutes. Now, if that can prevail on a street under broader daylight, my dear friend, Chris Nebe, you tell me that's not a culture?
That's the culture I told you a long time ago. America is morally and financially bankrupt. That's very simple. I kept telling you a long time ago.
In this case, yes.
And you don't like it when I say it,
No.
but it's
In
true.
this case, yes.
No, not only in that case, every case, because it's a string which never stops. And this is just another incident which is highlighting what's going on here. But America is also not 100% bad. There are more Americans who are good. There are more Americans like the old lady you met who gave you directions. This is an excess. And it is.
No, this is not an accident.
No, it's an excess.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Excess, not an accident.
I thought you say accident. No.
So, you see, this all goes so much deeper. This goes back 500 years ago when the church, the Catholic Church, empowered the white man to go and take the land of indigenous people. In 1493, the Catholic Church told the white man, you are better than anybody else. You can go. And then the colonial powers went to the third world, exploited, subjugated, and plundered them.
The white supremacy.
That's it. Yeah.
Yes.
And that's how they came here. Murdered the Native Americans, enslaved black people. And it goes on and on and on. And America is the last bastion of this empowerment.
Don't forget the Indian slaughters.
I told you that. I just said Native Americans, that's Indians. So that goes back a long time. And what I keep saying you, we need a moral rejuvenation to make things not happening. I'm amazed, and I'm telling you, I'm very much amazed because this was an Asian police officer who was there walking up and down and didn't do anything. So in the book of the Americans...
The guy was facing camera like this.
In the book of the Americans, this Asian is a person of color. Was he afraid to correct the white guy? So it shows you something. That guy should have said, don't do it.
Get away from him. Yeah, don't kill him.
So,
right?
So you see, let's not analyze this situation because this doesn't get us nowhere. It's a much bigger picture. And the bigger picture is that in Los Angeles, places are burning all over.
If there was an accident, just one day before, prior to the incident, that one PD officer in that Minneapolis department was punished by wrongdoing, and the thing went on news, though, I believe that officer would not do what they did. Right?
I don't know about what they do and how they do it. All I know is what I see and what the result is, and this is not the end. It will go on, and it will get much worse because we forget.
You heard him crying, Mama?
I heard him cry, Mama. I don't
It
want
caused me tears.
I don't want to talk about that. We are not dissecting this situation. We are facing the reality of today and tomorrow. And tomorrow it's going to get worse, my friend. Much worse. Mark my words. Because now you will have, in July it will be 3. In August, I'm sure that we will have an armed uprising in this country.
Do you recall Mr. Bruce Whitaker?
Yes.
Of Fullerton?
I know the story, and I know what you're referring to. I remember we had a show.
What I want to show is that the white supremacy stands not only in situation when white versus black. It stands for white elite supremacy.
Yes, it doesn't. Yeah, that's why the poor get poorer and the rich get richer. Very simple. So. Contrary to the Christianity, if you listen to Chinese philosophers, you have never heard anything or seen what you have never seen a doctrine of discovery where the church authorizes the white man to go and plunder the rest of the world. Chinese philosophers have always advocated create win-win situations and peace and harmony. See? Very interesting. People don't talk about it. So I rather like to talk about what is the cause. And the cause is 500 years ago. And the cause is the Catholic Church. And that doctrine of discovery, which was issued 1493, is still on the books of the Vatican. They never rescinded it. That shows you what goes on in the mind of the quote-unquote elite. End of story.
All right. Now let's come down to one point. At this stage, you have more than 25 major cities in the United States which went on riot. Looting have happened, right? And in some cities, such as in Colorado, police even fired at the crowds. However, rubber bullet, right? And by the way, rubber bullets still kill, right? If you got on the right spot of your body, suppose if you get one on your eye, though, you become well either dead or blind or anyway. All right. So now we have two choices. So now, what do you recommend? More suppression, or if not, what else? To control the situation.
The only way you can control it is with absolute suppression, which will even create more resentment. And another incident, the same thing will happen. The core issue of this goes much deeper. The core issue is that, and this is very clear, that here in America you have over 100,000 people dead. Why? Because there is no functioning medical system for the less fortunate of society. Nowhere in the world you have hundreds of thousands of people homeless. Nowhere. Why? Because there is no functioning system to take care of the less fortunate of society. And until America changes this, like European countries have tried to do, more or less successful because nothing is perfect, this will go on and on. And there will be another, and now the whole thing is amplified by the virus, because frustrations are sky high, and I am afraid, because so far it's only the police who is using guns. I'm afraid soon that people will using guns, and then you have a shootout.
Yeah, of course.
And then you have a shootout, and if so, this goes back. These are negligence of the governments, negligence of the politicians, negligence of the system, that they have not. We have to learn to take care of the less fortunate in our society.
Yeah, all right.
This is our obligation.
That probably almost have almost concluded that more suppression is not an option.
No, but you will not. If you don't do it, the riots will continue.
All right. If you do it, there are more rebounds.
No,
right?
If you do it, it will stop, because if you are surrounded by guns, nobody will demonstrate anymore.
You can't stop it.
No, you can. They
can?
stopped it. They stopped it in 1992 with the Rodney King case. Right away, it stopped. I saw it myself. They shot into the cars who were robbing the supermarkets, etc., etc. No.
Would it cause a rebellion?
I'm sorry?
Would it cause a rebellion? People rise.
It is a rebelling, but you see, the problem is the rebelling is also looting.
All right, let's take a moment now. Let's find out when we come back,
Yeah.
and how possible there might be a rebellion. All right, stay with us. We'll be right back, please.
Everything expected straight. It's like it seems wrong way.
My name is Paul James. I host English News every morning.
And a golden angel award ceremony.
Hello, dear friends, my lovely audiences. Today with me is my dear friend, Mr. Chris Nebe, Hollywood producer and director, screenwriter, and also he is a political commentator. We are friends for so many years, and he's been helping me with this program, this show, for a long time. Today, once again, in the middle of the pandemic, he offers to come here to share his views about what's happening now, which means that a protest based on the death of George Floyd of Minneapolis, that was developed into riot, into looting, and now we're talking about rubber bullets. We're talking about more suppression, which probably caused something more. At that point, we come back to Mr. Chris Nebe. So you're saying I'm checking, and I need to borrow your wisdom. All right. If we do not adopt a curfew, for example, Los Angeles, San Francisco all adopted curfew, while New York, it was not last night. Curfew was not not adopted. Right now, curfew is one thing. It's kind of a military-like whatsoever. And then you're talking about moral suppression. What would happen with the moral suppression? Would they come down, go home, or even uprising with guns?
I can only tell you I'm glad that I'm not a decision maker, because if the protests would have been peaceful, then they could go on and there wouldn't be any violence. Unfortunately, the demonstrations are not peaceful, and there have been extreme cases of looting. Buildings have been set afire.
May I stop you just 1 second, please?
Yeah.
However, the protest did not cause the enough attention of authorities, because nobody walks out to negotiate with them. If there had been negotiations before riot, before looting, things would be a lot better.
No, with whom are you going to? No. Look, this all goes back. It's the system is broken, and what can you do if there would be no riot, and there would be police brutality? I would be on the side of the demonstrators. Right now, I can see that the government has no choice but to increase the suppression because of the looting. There are fires. There are fires all over Los Angeles, in Santa Monica, on Melrose, and there is looting, not just one shop.
That's why I'm asking, the suppression, would that work?
Yes. Yes.
You know, in what extent? They'll stop looting?
Of course. They will stop.
They go home and behave themselves?
No, but they go home because they're afraid. Very simple.
And then will they come out again?
They will come out again.
Okay, now you're putting no stop of the looting.
No. For the time being, it will stop, and until the next incident, it will go on and on. We have to stop. For example, I give you a very good example. Do you know where the Veterans Building is? It's a huge area dedicated to American veterans. There are cemeteries, and there's huge parks and so on in West Los Angeles. In front, and you would assume that veterans are being taken care of. You can go there today and take a look. There's a veteran sleeping there, covered with the flag of the United States Marines. He's sleeping there on the street since weeks. Yeah? So?
Yeah.
What else do you want? This is the sign of a totally broken system. Because if he is a veteran, they should have been taking him in. No, nobody cares, because nobody cares. Really, nobody cares, because those in power don't care. They only care to fill their pockets, and that's why you have the rebellion. And in order to suppress the rebellion, there will be more force, and will go on and on, and nothing will change.
I know what you mean. We have a bigger problem than we can handle.
That's it.
Right?
Yeah.
Now, let's forget everything else. Let's say downtown Los Angeles, on the street though. Are you going to do another curfew tonight?
I'm going to be where?
Another curfew tonight.
Yes.
All right. And then 10 more curfews in the evening. On and on forever?
If the protest will be stopped because they will eventually have to shoot.
Are you able to bring Los Angeles back again?
There will be a so-called quietness for a while until the next incident. It's a social problem.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
It's a yes, because you cannot solve this in 1 week.
I opened this just for the purpose of discussion.
Yeah.
Do you think, all right, it's a time with some military presence, right, for the federal, for the state, for the local government to come on the street to meet the representatives of the demonstrators, protesters, or even looters?
The looters, they loot and they run away with what they loot. This is an illusion, my friend. This goes back. You cannot solve this within 24 hours. If you want to solve it in 24 hours, you have to slap back.
I'm not talking about to get the result 24 hours. I'm talking about a negotiation.
There's no negotiation. The people are too upset also.
You want to press charge on the officers, all right? Okay, we did. What else you want? You want a town hall meeting? Okay, let's schedule it.
I want the system to change. I want that there is a medical system which takes care of the disadvantage. But it's all too late. It's too late, don't you see? And I don't know the answer. You're asking me for answers. I don't know the answer. But I can tell you, yes, the government, for self-protection, will go with violence, by police violence. Police violence will increase, and there will be, the next thing is there will be an armed uprising. The next thing in this country is that there are plenty of guns. There are supposed to be twice as many guns in private hands in America as there are people. That means you have 660 million guns in private hands. And they will come out and shoot. I tell you one thing, for example, how crazy this country is. There is armed militia going into government house, I don't know, somewhere in Michigan or so. I saw the guns, everything. They are white. Nothing happened. If they would have been black, they would have been arrested right away.
Yeah, I agree.
Or not only black, if they would have been Chinese, my friend, or anything,
I agree.
any person of color, because this is the country's problem. The racism, the exceptionalism. You have a large amount of Americans believe that they are exceptional. And that is based on 500 years ago, where the Catholic Church, the Vatican, authorized the Europeans and told them, you are better than the rest of the world. Go and subjugate the people of color and plunder their land and enrich yourself.
And that includes also to subjugate the non-elite white. So it's only elite white are the masters of society, nobody else.
Yes.
That is the culture, exactly.
And nothing has changed.
Nothing has changed
In
so far.
reality, nothing has changed, because there's a lot of sweet talk and this and that, and it's all bullshit. Because the reality you see on the streets and the reality you see when...
To give you a one-word expression, though,
Yeah.
do you think the protests on the streets are understandable?
Of course, of course. And they're actually, if they wouldn't be looting, they would be absolutely pure. But unfortunately, they're being used by the evil element of society, where there are good people of all colors going there and say, don't do that, don't do that.
Well,
they're being used, and there's the other group who quickly breaks a window and breaks into a store.
Well, let's even probably step one more up towards almost the dangerous way. Do you think looting, even looting, helps the warning sign?
Helps
with the warning sign.
Warning for what?
Warning sign to give people, say, the society is so sick that we have to do something.
Yes, but nothing is going to happen, because you see, it's too late. It's the same thing with the homeless. If they would have aggressively attacked this problem when there were a couple of thousands, they would have been able to handle this. Now there are hundreds of thousands, maybe in America, 1 million, and it's impossible. What are you going to do? You can't handle it.
All right, I'll say what's
it's like the virus.
What's happening now with the virus pandemic is bad enough.
Mm-hmm.
We have been unable to walk out our own home for several months, and yet all of a sudden on the street there is something as big as street riot, street looting, shop looting. And well, we are really suffering, and it is a time we have problems all directions. Me and my friend Chris Nebe kind of very concerned about what to do. More suppression, negotiation, or what? Well, what else, right? Nothing is wrong unless you totally recognize that we need something to work on the fundamentality of this freedom structure. Other than that, we really have a big problem, right? So you want to wrap up with something else?
Yeah, you know, it's about time that we all realize that our world has become a global village. We depend on each other, and we must respect and understand our diversity, because the lessons of history determine our future. That's all I can say.
All right. Okay, my dear friends, lovely audiences, thank you for watching. And to my friend Chris Nebe, thank you for joining me. And we wish you good luck. We wish you safe. We wish you sound. We wish all bad things to go over overnight. All right. So, see you next time.